Okay.
Are we on?
Hi there, and welcome back to Unite the People radio show. As always, my name is Chelsea, and I'm here and co-hosted by Miss Olivia.
I am back for a second try at this, a second go. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, so we liked her so much the last time, we decided why not have her back. So whenever you see us, it's going to be a pretty easy and not serious radio show day.
I'm here to kill time and nothing else.
Okay. All right. So I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in last week. Thank you guys for continuing to watch us as we grow the radio show. As always, you can check us out on Facebook. We go live on Facebook. On Instagram, I believe we post the radio show the next day. What else? Where else are we?
I know we're on the radio.
We're on the radio.
We're on the socials.
Yes. So you can check us out on our social media. The Instagram is Unite the People, and then the Twitter is Unite the People USA, and then Facebook you can just type in Unite the People, and that's us.
Yeah.
Oh, also YouTube. That's a great one. Yeah, you can find us at YouTube at Unite the People. Just go ahead and search us up, and then you'll find us. So today is a pretty interesting day, and a pretty interesting week. So we're going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about yesterday's discussion with survivors and George Gascon, as well as George Gascon backlash. We'll talk a little bit about therapy and restructuring prisons and sentencings. We'll talk about kind of just an idealistic solution to the modern incarceration issues that we're having today, and how if it were up to us, again, not lawyers, not judges, just
everyday people.
Just everyday people who've had loved ones in the system. We'll talk
people
about how
who have been affected by it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely stakeholders, right? We'll talk about how we could restructure that according to how we feel. As well as we'll talk about the burden of distance in visitation, as well as the influences on youth.
Sounds like a really nice lineup. Sounds really good.
Yeah, so we'll try to fit in all of those topics today, but of course, if we don't, there will always be next week, where we'll be on live at the social medias that I just listed. Okay, so is there anything new going on with you that you want to talk about today?
No. Wow, it's been a rough week, but I'm here. So
Yeah, and
no complaints.
If you don't know, Unite the People's offices will be closed tomorrow for Veterans Day. We will be observing the holiday. I just want to wish everyone a safe Veterans Day. I don't know if people typically go out and party for Veterans Day. What do you?
I think some do. I know a lot of people who can prove that they're veterans get free stuff. Don't miss out on your free stuff.
Also, we wanted.
Thank you.
Yeah, completely. Also, we wanted to mention that we are currently on CPI Radio. You can listen to us on CPI Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. We're getting really good at starting on time now, so I want to thank us for doing that and making that happen.
It's an improvement.
Oh, I thought we were going to add in a hand clap noise. Oh, stop. Stop it. Oh, you're too kind. Okay, hopefully you guys could hear that. They hit the clap effect. So, all right, yeah, nothing new. Just, excited for the day off. Again, everybody be safe for the holiday. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. I wish that Caesar was here. Unfortunately, Caesar couldn't make it to the shooting today. But he was actually invited to speak with George Gascon. And the topic of discussion was survivors of violent crime. I haven't been able to see the news clip. I don't know if it's out yet. If it is, we'll definitely link that on our socials so that...
I hear it was very impactful. It was a great discussion that occurred, and it was really informative.
It seems like it was really emotional, too. So I could find some clips dealing more so with George Gascon's backlash, which we'll get into in a little bit. But it wasn't just our CEO, Caesar. It was also family members, those affected by violent crime. So survivors were able to tell their stories and discuss with George Gascon about possible solutions to help survivors better. I think that is a really...
I think that's great.
Yeah, I wish that I could be there, a part of that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. But it sounds like it got pretty emotional. And I mean, you can even imagine when, you know, if someone loses a loved one to, you know, violence, of course that's emotional.
Yeah, no, and you think about it, I think it's really good to talk about, because it's like you really, when it comes to dissecting like the crime issue, you really got to look at every single angle that there possibly is. It's like completely. every person that's affected, someone's affected by it. So it's good to have that open discussion.
And I think what's really important is, and not to minimize, but to kind of maximize the hurt that's and the effects that are felt all over. It's not just the victims of the crime, it's also the, you know, perpetrator of the crime's family. So if someone commits a crime and that person goes to prison, that person's family is then without their loved one, so they're being affected too.
That is true.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to kind of like pay attention to all aspects of who's been affected, and of course, you know, realize the victim's family.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting that you brought that up. I actually had a discussion earlier today.
Oh, okay.
Similar to that, where it was someone explaining to me that, I'm not going to say any names, but someone explaining to me that their father was actually in prison since they were born.
Oh, wow.
And it's been about 20-something years now. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, they're like, okay, well, this affected me. And they explained to me, like, this has affected me. So it is like, it's not even just like minimizing the victim, but it's just opening up the fact that there's more victims than just the person who was harmed initially.
Right. And I think if we can look a little bit deeper, what were the influences on this person that committed this violence? How can we remedy that? What made it think that it was okay or that it was necessary to commit acts of violence? Yeah,
I agree.
I think that would take some serious introspection.
Maybe that's the issue. It's just like when you get to the court, a lot of the judges they don't really look at all the details. They just look at the paper.
Yeah, and I mean, I would imagine that it would be really time. I don't know how time effective,
like sensitive.
Yeah, time sensitive it would be to do that, like a deep dive on a person and their influences. I think it's kind of more like,
is it worth it though? I mean, these are people's lives.
It's very worth it, but I don't know how many cases like a typical judge or, you know, lawyer would how much time they would have to deal with each individual situation. And then also you have to think of like the social restructuring that would have to happen to kind of like, you know, pinpoint these issues and then to go after them. So going back to the survivors talk with George Gascon, of course, this was an event lasting hours, not just the CEO of United People, but also survivors and, you know, victims, family members. So some of the solutions that were offered were improving accessibility to therapy and doing more thorough background checks on those hired to help survivors. Yeah.
I feel like that's a great way to start. That's a great place to start when it comes to like getting that closure for the victims and the victims' families.
Yeah, I think therapy, even, you know, before the crime was committed, therapy is a great resource.
Not enough people get therapy. More people should honestly have therapy.
Yeah, but I think we say that as if therapy isn't work. Therapy is work, and a lot of the times it's like dating, right? So like your first therapist, it might not work out, but you still have to kind of keep trying and find the one that works for you. If, you know, you are in a situation where you don't feel like your therapist is listening to you, I've been there, And I just want to say that just keep trying. Try and find one that works for you, one that you can relate to. When it comes to therapy, yeah, definitely shop around, and don't feel like, because I've done this where I felt like, oh, I've been with her for, a year or whatever, like I might as well just stay. Like, don't. It's not a relationship like that. I mean, even in a relationship like that, leave. But
honestly, just look around, like, it's like it's your time. So you really gotta take that into effect, like,
and your mental health, yeah.
Like, honestly, if like you're just like, my therapist breathes weird and drives me crazy, stop going to that therapist. Find a different therapist.
I had a therapist that would always check the clock. Like, what is that?
That is rude.
Yeah, and I stuck beside her. Ultimately, I did switch therapists. So that's my little 2 cents on therapy. It works if you work it, but you have to kind of find one that works for you. So there has to be more people in this field of work when it comes to like therapy. Honestly. You want them to be like appropriate.
Find a good therapist. Like, just just someone you vibe with.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously someone who's been through these experiences that they can relate and kind of, understand where a survivor is coming from and what they've been through is also a great solution.
Like someone who understands.
Someone who understands you completely. There's nothing worse than a therapist who is just like really not understanding. Because then what's the point,
Okay, so okay.
Also, there needs to be more empathy when it comes to speaking with survivors, as they are often expected to process their emotions right away and are not able to properly grieve before they have to fill out paperwork or pay for resources, which, yeah.
I feel like that goes into the whole, like, time sensitiveness about, like, cases. Like,
yeah, there has to be more understanding.
Like, look, we got, like, 20 people behind. Like, I need you to start talking about this, or, like, we got to move on.
No, yeah, completely. Everybody processes experiences, negative experiences, especially trauma, in their own way. And I think that it's good to realize that, while one person would do this immediately, not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same kind of mentality. So, yeah. So you can watch this talk on ABC7, Spectrum News, Telemundo, and other various news sources.
Very good stuff.
And also Channel 5.
Very good.
So...
They're doing a special on Spectrum 1 News.
Okay.
On George Gascon Sunday at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. on Spectrum 1 and all day Monday.
Okay, so if you couldn't hear that, Sunday at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m., Spectrum News is doing a special on George Gascon and our CEO, founder, leader, Cesar McDowell. I kind of want to make you sound like a cult leader just because I think it's funny. As the series goes on, I'll get more like cultish. So you can check that out on Sunday at 5 and 6 p.m. as well as Monday all day. So that'll be some good viewing. So let's talk about George Gascon's backlash. I think before he even got into his position, he was receiving backlash for...
Oh, 100%. He had lawsuits up the wazoo.
Of the wazoo, yeah.
It was just like...
Yeah, because he's so progressive. People kind of don't want something too, like, out there, a deviation from the norm.
People don't like change.
You're one of them.
I don't like change.
You don't like change.
I was fine with that change because I was like, all right, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
That seems like something like, yeah, there's issues with the prison system. It makes sense to want to change it.
Yeah. Reasonable change.
I don't like change in temperatures.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
When it gets cold, it's just that's not okay.
Yeah, and it gets cold in California, so I don't know why people don't believe that.
Do people not believe that?
Yeah, people think it's sunny all the time.
I mean, it has I remember being told that like California stays 70 all year round. It's
Yeah,
like probably not
absolutely
since like
not.
the 50s.
Yeah, it's like 50 outside right now.
Climate change, man.
So getting into George Gascon, of course, he's had backlash because he wants to do away with enhancements, which is something that we're totally on board with. As you may or may not know, we have a Reunite campaign. We want to do away with gang and gun enhancements because when you look at who's affected by them, it's really disproportionately people of color. And it's just kind of, you should do the time for the crime and not the enhancements, because you're already in prison. We've already have such a huge issue with locking people up for way longer than necessary, which is something that I actually want to talk about.
I mean, I'm here for the conversation.
Yeah, but we'll get into that when we do our whole reimagining of the prison system and like punishments for crime. Okay, so George Gascon today is, because always something. Today he's
still being sued.
I don't know if he's being sued, but he's basically, I think the sheriff, the Los Angeles County sheriff, forget his last name, but he pretty much called him out in a series of tweets, I believe, basically because
Unprofessional.
this month George Gascon's office used a legal technicality that would lead to the release of a convicted murderer. I'm getting this from ABC7, this news bit, and documented gang member who was sentenced to 50 years in prison. However, due to this technicality, he's only going to be serving 6. Documented gang member, I don't know if that was super necessary. Is that important?
Yeah, well, you know how the media goes, where
Yeah.
they like to kind of scare the people.
Well, yeah,
more,
not so much like
so they can't. Not only is he a convicted murderer,
Yeah.
but he's also a gang member.
Yeah.
My pearls.
Which I mean, that's not super, and it's kind of like framing it in a way that, look, this is a really bad person. However, when you read a little bit about him and his case, it goes on and says he was convicted of gunning down a 41-year-old man outside a Palmdale restaurant in 2015. At the time, he was a few weeks shy of his 18th birthday, but he was tried as an adult. So I think right there, it kind of like is
Wait, so
cause
he was
for
convicted
pause.
at 17.
I'm not that he was convicted at 17, but the shooting happened before he was 18. So this was a child that I don't want to say made a mistake, because he made a huge mistake.
That's a big mistake.
Yeah, but this was a child.
But honestly, when you think about it, I feel like the problem doesn't lie in
Like age.
maybe like not specifically age, but just like, because they seem to go out of their way to point out that he was gang affiliated. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
Well, yeah, this is just in this one article here.
so then it's just like, well, maybe we should find out what was going on at home to where he felt like this was, because a 40-year-old, like a 17-year-old
yeah.
killing a 41-year-old, that's a big age gap. Like,
Yeah,
I
there's
can't even
something there.
imagine like when they would be associating like that, like if like
Yeah.
they were close friends or something. Like
The way that I understood it was a robbery, robbery murder.
it's a lot of those.
Yeah, and it's rough. It's obviously you don't want anybody to be murdered. And then his family was kind of outspoken against Gascon. Of course, they're hurt, and I think that is understandable. But
That's valid. I mean, their emotions are valid. Everyone's emotions are valid.
completely, their emotions are valid. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's because of my point of view. I just feel like it's not going to bring their loved one back, Like, him staying in prison for, 50 years, like, if he's going to actually do the full 50, I don't know. I think that sometimes when people are victims of violent crimes, it can kind of...
Like, the anger can cloud their judgment and,
Yeah, it can be more like anger, and you want to punish this person versus you want this person to be rehabilitated.
Well, then, like, maybe, like, do you think, like, maybe separate, like, the victim from, like, society? Because at some point, like, is he a danger to society? Like, is there a risk of him going out and killing more?
Right.
Or is this, like, a one-time incident that he had to learn from? Because he was young. 17 is still
That's
a child.
crazy. Yeah, that's a serious child. I think that still comes to the question of are prisons for punishment or rehabilitation? Because right now it looks like they're for punishment. But I think that if we continue to just kind of like grab the bad apples, right, and lock them away in a prison, how are we doing anything to prevent other people from becoming those bad apples? But like it just doesn't seem like a really healthy system. We're not working on the individual. It's kind of a
You're not cutting the pipeline.
you're not addressing
what
the
drops.
issue. Why are why are these crimes being committed? It's just very much, oh, this crime was committed, let's just remove them from society somewhere that no one will see them.
I'll be 100 with you. Prisons for profit, but
Yeah, completely.
the way it's structured is it's structured as punishment. It's structured to exploit. Because then it's just like you realize like what these people like the living conditions once they get into prison, and then it's like like you're angry and everything. And you're like, oh well, they deserve it, but it's just like, I mean, they all get treated the same. Do they all deserve it?
Yeah.
Like the people that are like they had I don't know what's a high amount of weed or a low amount of weed.
They had a high amount of weed.
Like they just had weed and they did prison. You really feel like the prison system's fine, it doesn't need reform, and you're fine with like some guy who got caught with weed being treated the same way as like
No, and it's
like
crazy
a heinous crime.
because as you guys know, I answer the phones at Unite the People. So whenever you call Unite the People, you have a 1 in 2 chance that you're speaking to me.
1 in 3, 1 in 4.
It's a 1 in 2.5. And so I do hear the stories, and I have people that will call me, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm serving like 30 to 50 years for murder, and then someone will call me, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'm serving 135 years for attempted murder, and it doesn't really add up.
That doesn't make sense.
But, I mean, obviously, details withheld, specifications not included. You know, every case is different. But that's just one of the things I'm like, I don't believe that.
But that's the thing, like every case is different, but we have, like, kind of cookie-cutter sentencing. Like, okay, this is close enough to this case, so I'm going to give you 25 to life, even though the details aren't the same.
Well, I don't believe in like crazy. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's cute or fair when people get these really long prison sentences, like the 100 and whatever, 300, and like that's not funny.
You know
like,
what I heard today?
What?
I heard today someone got life plus 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why would you add 10 years if they already have life? Like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense. Like,
it's so crushing when you think about like you're gonna
Finish the life sentence if you have 25 to life, and let's say you do 23 years and you were about to get out. Now they got 10 years worth of more money coming out to you, but you still got to go to that 10 years. So that's why they do that.
so if someone has
even if they're out.
So if someone has like a life without parole plus 5 years.
Life without parole, that's just overkill. But if they have life plus 10, that means, see, natural life is 20 years, 25 years, whatever it is.
Is it?
That's what's in the law books as natural life. So if they give you life, that's 25. Right? So if you do 23 and go to the board, and the board, or so think you're supposed to go to the board, but if they give you that life plus that 10, whether they are going to send you to the board or it doesn't even matter, you got to bring that 10 more years. So that's 10 years at $88,000 per year minimum per person. So throwing that extra
So do they serve the extra 10, or do they just get the money for the 10 years and they're not?
Serve that time. You
So,
serve your sentence.
so if they got
Oh.
granted parole,
They wouldn't send them to the board.
oh,
They
okay.
still knock that 10 out.
Wow.
Now, I don't know, I've never had that sentence,
Mm-hmm.
the plus, but there may be instances where maybe somebody does, they do have people that have sentences that have other cases somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and you might have 25 to life here and then have some other sentence somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll let you go to the board, let you do all that, so you're done with California,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't let you go. They'll still transfer you over there and let you go knock that 20 out in Oklahoma or something like that.
I've actually
Wow.
heard a couple of these in the past week.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
a high amount and then plus 10.
Yeah.
Plus 5.
Which I mean, what is somebody's soul supposed to do with that? I understand like crime was committed, but like I don't know, like that just irritates me so much because it doesn't have to be all
I
that.
feel like it just kind of gives you like this idea where it's like you're not capable of change,
right.
and you're going to
It's very
internalize that, and that's going to sit with you, because it's just like, well, if these people who have my life in their hands feel
Yeah.
like I don't even deserve a second chance to prove
Yeah, then
that,
what's the point?
that I'm not this person that they think I am, like why would I waste my time? Like, this is where I'm gonna die, and that's honestly really depressing.
Yeah. And like to have to live with that, I think if we could just like think about that part of being incarcerated, like having to, of course, crimes. We want to think about the crimes. They're very sexy, right? But like thinking about like just like having to wake up every single day knowing that you have 100+ years of your sentence. I mean, like, what do you
do with that?
like? I get kind of claustrophobic even thinking about that because, of course, I don't like commitment. But yeah, that is super depressing in itself. And I'm not saying that, and then maybe we can talk about like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't go to prison. I don't feel like I have the authority to say that. I don't feel like I have all of the answers, of course. I just answer the phones at Unite the People. But I don't know. We should look at how, obviously I'm not the only person to think this, but like look at how we handle our criminals, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing to make society better? Because right now we're removing members of families just to kind of like get them out of the way. These are people who may or may not have committed crimes, but what are we doing to prevent these crimes from happening? And
Nothing.
what are we doing to better society?
Probably something. I know someone out there is probably like, I'm gonna try and do something, but it's just like how much backing do you have behind that?
Yeah, it's really hard.
Because I know there's a lot of people that are like gang like intervention. They try to like kind of cycle people out of that gang life,
Right.
but it's like how much support do you have from like the community and from like the state, like?
And then also, if gangs are so much a problem, why do we feel like removing a parental figure or like a role model from a community? Maybe they're in a gang, maybe they're not. It doesn't really matter. If they say you're in a gang, right? Like removing them from the community, and maybe there's someone that looks up to them, Like now they're more likely, without their role model, their parental figure, to try to find a family in a gang.
It's true.
I also wanted to point out that Facebook Live, I believe we're on. You're more than welcome to write in. If either of us say something that struck a chord, if we say anything wrong, please feel free to write in and correct us. Feel free to write in your own experiences. And questions, of course, are more than welcome. This is a conversation. It's not just us talking. You have ways to kind of go two ways about this. So, of course, if, be nice, obviously, if I get something wrong. But, yeah, you're more than welcome to speak up. So we want to talk about therapy. which I think would be a really good way to kind of like remedy the ails of society. What do you think?
How powerful do you think therapy actually is for a person?
I
Like,
think
how
talking is
beneficial?
I think talking is amazing. When you talk, you can kind of like realize your emotions, realize the cause of your emotions, put forth a plan in handling your emotions. I think that a lot of people can kind of be afraid to talk and express things. Obviously, if you have, you know, a really bad like home life, therapy can only do so much. But also we have to look at like social programs too, I think.
I feel like if you're like seeing a therapist and your home life is bad, your therapist should know like, hey, like there are some resources out for you, and they should be able to provide you with like certain resources or at least like a direction to go for.
Yeah, completely. Let's talk about how we would restructure prisons.
I'm so excited for this conversation.
So this
Water beds everywhere.
water beds. Oh my gosh, don't get me started. Basketball girl punched other girl on news. Somebody asked me, how do I feel about basketball girl punched other girl on news? I know I talk a lot about like understanding, but I personally don't believe in violence. I don't know why she punched this woman. I'm sure there was another way to go about that. I don't know. Just don't hit people unless I guess your family's involved. Like I would hit somebody for you.
I appreciate that.
But I wouldn't just like hit somebody like
Just
that.
randomly.
Like
hit
it would be
somebody.
really out of character.
It would be, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know.
I would be like, you know what, this isn't her regularly, but
Yeah.
maybe that person deserved it.
Yeah, there had to be a reason, right?
You gotta stand with your family on that. Like if they're going around punching people, maybe the people deserve it.
I appreciate your support. Oh, her mom told her to punch. Oh.
There is, so we have a backstory.
We have a backstory. So the mom wanted her to punch the girl. I think that's great.
You know what? I respect it. Like
I think that's ghetto as hell, but
that's really funny. But I'm not mad. Like if my mom said take off, like I gotta take off.
yeah, that's
like,
the thing too. Like, if your mom tells you to do something and you kind of want to do it anyway, like,
I was
all
like,
right.
I don't know. Like, what if it's like that kind of mom where it's like, look, if you don't fight her when you get home,
Oh my
I'ma
gosh.
fight you.
Yeah. Those are the worst. I don't
It's
think
like-
we didn't have that. We have the same mom.
We didn't.
Allegedly. And we didn't have that. She wasn't that type of party.
She
So
wasn't.
I'm grateful. I wasn't in fights though. I just why would you even muster the energy to like put forward violence?
You gotta
towards
be really
somebody?
angry, and you know what? Sometimes people get angry.
That's true. That's
Sometimes
scary.
you get so angry to where it's just like the only way you can express it is through
Yeah.
your fist.
No, I will cry. I will cry before I hit anything. Huh?
The other girl fouled her first. And then the mom,
Okay.
you better hit her.
Okay, so it was during a basketball game. Okay,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
we're
I'm
getting
not
a lot
on
of
this girl's
details
side
here.
anymore. I'm not on the girl's side that
No,
punched
wait.
the other girl. I'm not on the mom's side. Oh, it was really bad, like knockout.
How did she foul her? Like, did she purposely foul her? Did
Yeah,
she,
and then
like,
that's like interesting too.
was it a disrespectful foul? I feel like
It looked like an accident.
Dave Chappelle right now.
Why? Okay, so he's saying looks like a foul. I don't have
What
a.
were they doing?
I don't have like a like. You know,
Well,
I don't watch
know.
sports
I
that
don't
often. I don't know what
Like,
that looks
well,
like.
you played basketball for a while. Have you ever been fouled?
She says a while. It was a semester, a sophomore semester.
It was the proudest I've ever been about basketball.
They were so proud, and I'm like, y'all, I'm just sitting down on the bench. Y'all didn't have to come out like this to watch me sit down here, okay? No, I'm kidding. I got to play once. I'm not gonna lie to you. No, that's terrible. Please keep your hands to yourself. I hate violence. Ugh.
You shouldn't want to be violent. But the mom said take off. That's all I'm gonna say.
The mom was wrong for that, by the way. That's my opinion. So we were having a.
What about Dave Chappelle not being canceled?
Well, the thing about people like to walk around talking about cancel culture so ad nauseum, huh?
You have to repeat the question so they
Oh, okay. So our off-camera friend asked, "How do I feel about Dave Chappelle not being canceled?" Well, yeah, it's obvious. People don't really get canceled. It's like this looming threat, or it's like this fictitious kind of.
You don't think it's real?
I don't think cancel culture is real. You look at it. Who's been canceled? Daniel. I've seen this. I've seen a meme earlier. It's like Daniel Caesar, and that's only because he said cancel me, and the internet was so petty. They're like, bet. But even he still comes on the radio. Like, cancel culture is not a real thing. People just kind of like to make it seem like it's this unfair, like evil energy, when in fact it's just people kind of trying to hold people accountable.
I feel like it makes sense though, like kind of like the concept of it, not the practice of it, but the concept where it's like, you know what, if I can get so many people to agree with my thought, with my idea that this person is just so bad that I want to stop listening to their music, stop watching their movies, stop watching their specials.
And that's the movement.
And then that's where that cancel power comes
from.
But
I will say one thing.
But you're not going to get enough people.
Yeah, I will say one thing. If anything, this has been great for Dave Chappelle's
celebrity.
It was great. Dave Chappelle's special. So many queer people have watched it just to see what he says. Everybody's watching it just to see what he says. This is great marketing.
Some people have it running in the background just to have it running in the background just to show support.
Yeah, and I mean, so it doesn't matter if he's canceled. It doesn't matter if, I mean, it does matter if his remarks are transphobic, but that's not the point. The point is that we're talking about it. You know?
It is that we're talking about it. Also,
we're talking about it. We're watching it.
Honestly, it's not being sensitive. Like, there's a message in it. There's an actual message in it.
I will say.
Did you watch it?
No, I did watch it. I watched it. Some funny jokes. I thought it was a little bit funnier than maybe some of his other newer specials. Some of his other newer specials have been kind of like sad toned, just with everything going on. But I used to love Dave Chappelle so much.
I know.
But like now that like I'm an adult, he's obviously older, and it just comes off like very old man comedy.
You were like a huge Dave Chappelle show. You're probably the main reason I watched Dave Chappelle show. That's the main reason I knew who it was because you were such a big fan.
The Dave Chappelle was funny, but now it just doesn't.
I feel. What does that say about you though? If like you were the biggest, like you were his biggest, not his biggest fan, but like
a huge fan.
You were a big, like in your
like
retrospective,
his older stuff.
Like, yeah. And then like his older stuff was like problematic.
But it was funny. He wasn't like, I don't know. Now it just feels like he's just doing this for attention.
How dare you?
No, it does. It feels like he's okay. It just feels like he's doing it for attention. So Bill Cosby being released already. Okay. On one hand, I don't believe that prison is the answer to everything. I think that for a lot of the crimes, prison can be replaced with.
Before you finish this, if you have any questions or any comments that you would like just to get through to us, just let us know.
Yeah. Just call us at 888-245-9393, my personal extension. No, I'm kidding. If you want it, I guess you can comment that and I'll give it to you. I don't know. But, okay. Like, here, I wrote, because we were going to talk about, like, crimes and the
We did not talk about restructuring.
Yeah, we'll do it right now. Okay. The amount of time that we feel like would be like a better fix versus like someone doing 100 and whatever years for robbery.
Get this man off.
Okay, somebody escort him, please. You guys can't see this, but I'm being prompted on the side here. Topics include: should R. Kelly be released? Short answer is no.
What's the long answer?
Long answer is also no. But the issue is sexual crimes, right? The issue is sexual crimes. Like, you could say murder. Someone murders somebody. How long should they get? 20 years. 20. That's enough time to be like, maybe I shouldn't have murdered that person. What do you think? 15? 15 years? Because
For
I
murder?
mean,
Wait, attempted murder or murder?
attempted murder, you should just apologize to that person. Look, man, I'm sorry. That was weird. Like, they make, like, the court makes you apologize and, like, pay whatever. Like, if he missed dinner because you're trying to murder him, you gotta, like, buy him dinner now. You know what I'm saying? But,
And the family, because the family almost
oh,
lost
yeah,
somebody.
so it's more expensive to, don't try to murder somebody. But sex crimes, that's hard. When we talk about
I've
that.
actually thought about this on the way to
Yeah,
work.
and it's like, is it rehabilitation? Like, is it, would somebody that committed, like, heinous sexual crimes, would rehabilitation be possible? I think that's a great question that I struggle with. Obviously, everybody's different. I'm not such a cynic that I think that it can't be done for anybody. Of course, I'm sure that some people are rehabilitated. I'm sure that some pedophiles can overcome their illness. Like, I wouldn't, I'm not going to say nobody ever, right?
Yeah.
But those crimes,
there are exceptions. These
Yeah.
are not rules.
yeah, completely. Like, those crimes, I just feel like maybe prison is needed. For robbery, simply give that shit back.
You know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Yeah.
You know, all you got to do is replace the stuff.
Replace the stuff.
replace the stuff.
You don't have to do the 57.
You know, robbery is actually I don't know if it's considered a serious crime or a violent crime. It's one of those,
Might
and
be
it
serious.
doesn't make sense. I feel like I've heard someone say robbery was violent and then burglary was serious.
Huh? Oh, pay for their therapy. There you go. But I think if you're robbing, you don't have money. So where's the issue? The issue is the lack of resources, the lack of finances for this person that they think that they have to go out
That
and
would
rob
suck,
somebody.
Like if you made a robber give them the stuff back. It's like, I don't have it anymore.
I have it.
And then it's like, well, go get him one. It's
Right.
like, how you gonna go get one? Now I gotta rob again.
Right.
It's just an endless cycle.
So what I think that the government should do, of course, is let's say that you, Olivia, are arrested for robbery.
Oh my goodness.
You robbed somebody's car. We would call that grand theft, right?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
Am
Am I using that right?
Yeah, I missed that game.
Yeah, it's actually not a good game.
Is it not? I remember playing it at like 12.
You run over people and beat prostitutes. It's not a good game.
Maybe for a 12-year-old.
Maybe for a 12-year-old or anyone ever. Like if you rob somebody's car. No, that's not a good one.
Wait,
if you rob,
I just want to say this one thing. Did
Yeah.
you ever like playing Grand Theft Auto? Have you ever tried to drive like regular?
No, I can't drive for driving
I've
games.
tried to drive like a regular citizen.
Just law abiding. So robbery is serious. Burglary is serious unless someone is home. I thought burglary someone was home.
There's different versions.
Oh, right.
You can break into your house while you're not home, and that's not considered violent.
Okay.
If I break into your house and you're there,
Mhm.
even if I don't commit any violence,
Mhm.
it's still considered violent because there's a propensity for violence.
And don't even get us started. Now, what if there is a firearm present but not used?
There's a guy that works with an organization that has that same thing where there was a weapon present,
Yeah.
but no one was home. They still gave him a violent charge because if someone
That's where it
was
is.
home, he may have used that weapon.
Oh.
That's where the violent came in. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was like if a firearm is present.
But like I was saying, like if you rob somebody for like, let's say you got like $50,000 and you can't, like you spend it, you can't pay that back. The government should make you get a job and then, or maybe like set you up with some kind of employment. So over time you're able to like repay this person that you stole from, as well as find employment for yourself, ensuring that you're not going to go back to a life of robbing people, because why would you?
What if I don't pay them and they send it to collection?
So you're just a bad guy overall. You don't want to be helped. You don't want to be rehabilitated. Well, then I don't know, dude. That was my one solution to crime. I don't have any more.
No, I agree. Like, giving money like
Yeah.
for it, if it's like for robbery, I feel like that makes sense. I feel like you really did make sense. The only thing is like, why is this
She's
guy
being
having
nice.
why is this guy having issues finding a job? Why is he having issues
Yeah.
being able to provide for himself and his family? Because a lot of robbery charges are like, I had to provide for my family. I had a baby on the way.
Right.
Like,
So another crime that I get stumped by is arson, which I always forget is a crime, but it's a crime apparently. What do
to
you
insurance companies.
what do you
And I
think?
mean people if you burn their houses.
Oh,
I forgot that
Yeah.
like people do, but a lot of fires
Oh,
are just
that's a
like
hard-
natural fires.
No, that's a hard crime to be like, oh, you could just do, because I feel like
Do you
no matter,
remember-
for like an arsonist, no matter how much time you give them, they're eating it and coming back and starting a fire. Like, it's happening, like, a
I'm
little,
waiting on this. Like this
a little unstable a little bit, you know?
like you're doing like 15 years. It's like this is gonna be a big ass.
Yeah, you're just preparing your getaway at that point.
I knew where I went wrong last time.
You're just assessing where you messed up.
You got
If you're
15 years to think about it.
If you're an
so-
arsonist, please hit us up. Just let us know. What do you think is a fair sentence for arson, committing arson?
Oh my! Wait, do you remember that one homeless guy that was burning stuff by the Hollywood sign?
No.
Oh my gosh, there was it was a homeless guy who kept starting fires, and the police were trying to catch him.
Maybe?
You remember? I think it was
No.
like last year, 2019. And then like they kept like he had burned it, and then he had like got away, and then he set another fire, and they almost caught him, but he got away.
Yeah.
And then they checked the hospital, and it was like 2 people
Yeah.
checked into the hospital for smoke
Oh,
issues, like breathing in
Yeah.
the smoke,
yeah.
and that's how they caught him.
Oh, wow.
So
No, ours, that's scary. I was walking, I was like jogging, whatever. I'm active. And,
I'm not.
Yeah, and there was like these 2 really big fires. So no, I definitely understand like firsthand.
So
that
fire is scary.
Fire is scary. Fire is definitely scary.
But is it a crime?
Yeah. Yes. It's a crime.
Okay.
Let's see. What would you say for? Ooh, special guest alert. We don't have a noise for that. Maybe it works. There we go. That one's
That's a
good.
good one. We'll take it.
We'll take it. So next week we're having a guest, the founder of an organization called Locked In by the name of Deanne. So we are super excited. We
Is it
love
Deanne
guests
or is it
here.
Dean?
No, it's Deanne.
Okay, cool.
We love guests here. We love when people call in and speak with us. We love when people leave us messages. We love the interaction.
It's less lonely.
Yeah, so I would really want to work on a show with maybe people calling in, just to just to hey, this is my story. If I want to share my story, or hey, I have this question. You answer the phones at United People. You must have the answer to it. Like whatever you guys want to say, just talk with us and see how we can,
We're here. We don't judge.
yeah, give a voice to the community. I think that would really be great.
Love to let the community talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so,
Oh my goodness, love after lockup.
I don't know if we're gonna talk about that.
No, we're probably not. but
That
I
was
just
more
thought
of a
it
joke
was-
suggestion. Unless you guys want us to. See, you can write, hey, talk about this. Maybe we will. But yeah,
Give us some
super-
topics to discuss. Like, give us like some think pieces, something to like really sit on the next week.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
We still didn't talk about like. We
We
did. We
yeah.
did talk
So
about
I just really wanted to talk about influences. So we have about 10-ish more minutes of the radio show left. And I just wanted to talk about our influences. When we talk about restructuring our prison industrial complex, when we talk about when we are sentencing our, young and old people, because, older people make mistakes too.
old people also commit crimes.
Old people do commit crimes, yeah. they be stealing and stuff. Just because they don't even need it. They'll just, not all of them.
My
not all
social
of them.
security isn't enough.
No, but it is, and they just steal for fun, like teenage girls.
I hate that phase. I did not go through that phase.
Not every teenage girl goes through a stealing phase, and that's like that's a crime, right? But it's kind of not serious, so that's
like
good.
petty theft. Petty theft.
But what are your influences? Why are you shoplifting? You're shoplifting because you think it's cool. You think it's funny, right? You don't need the stuff that you're taking.
Like keychains. They might need those keychains.
No, they don't. So I think it's really important. I think that with a lot of hurting on all sides of being a victim of violence, of, being a family member for someone that perpetrated violence, or you have to think about also sometimes things happen and things don't go the way that someone may plan them to go. And yes, while they may have been in the process of committing a crime, maybe they don't expect for the crime to be taken to an extent to where someone loses their life. And I think that it's okay to have sympathy for people who commit violence.
I
Fatal
agree,
acts of
honestly.
violence. Because, I
don't know. Sometimes I really wish that, like, having empathy for the perpetrator didn't equal a lack of empathy for the victim. Because it doesn't. Like, you can see both sides.
Okay, so we have a question. It says, should a 65-year-old be sentenced to life for stealing a visible Visine bottle? It really happened in Riverside. See, this is why I stay out of Riverside. I don't know if this is about me. For the next 2 seconds, we're just going to talk about my hate for Riverside. If you live in Riverside, I don't know what to tell you.
There's so many issues.
We're from the IE, so we're from the San Bernardino part of the IE. It's very superior to the Riverside part. I know you guys got like nice like what is it? Like the buildings and stuff are nice or
Architecture.
whatever. Architecture, that's fine.
It's okay. It
It's
looks
fine.
like someone tried.
Y'all tried with the buildings or whatever. I just don't mess with Riverside. I don't mess with Orange County. I'm sorry if you live from there. I don't hold it against you.
I mean, they have obvious issues.
Oh, what was the question? Oh, no. The answer was no. There's no reason anyone should be spending life in prison. No more than 10 years. I think 10 years max, absolute max, on stealing anything. I'm like,
well,
that's...
what if it was just for like 10 months? It's like, listen, all right, we can't keep you in here long, but you go learn your lesson.
Make him give it back. Make him give it back and write a report on why he felt it was okay to steal it. Submit it to the court.
Report. See, now I'm 100% on board. Instead of prison time, robbery, just give it back. Apologize. 10,000, like 2,000 word letter.
Yeah.
Apology.
And then I think maybe the court should have to grade it, and you have to do it again if you don't get an A the first time.
I love it. Let's replace the judges with teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. We're onto something here.
I feel like we are.
We've definitely got crime and punishment on lock.
I'm starting a petition. I need 5,000 signatures. Let's put these teachers where they should be respected.
So yeah, like going back to influences though, I think that we should just train our brains to kind of think bigger than what media, news stations want us to think, right?
Yeah, and also I feel like at this point, I feel like we're past the whole punishment for crime.
Yeah.
I think it's time to like learn. It's time for you to learn.
Yeah. Learn
really love
so
your
that we
idea,
can
though.
teach our children and their children so we can have a better society.
There you have it. Better society.
So, do we have any questions? Anybody want to ask us anything? We're here for the next 5 minutes. You.
How you guys
No, I'm
feel
kidding.
about that smell on the freeway here in Los Angeles?
Oh, the sulfuric smell?
I actually hold my nose. I hold my breath while I'm driving on
Yeah.
all freeways.
She passes out sometimes. No. I think it's coming from Carson, right? I don't know. That's gross. I mean, it's not. I don't like it. I'm not like obsessed.
Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about?
What?
Oh, what was that? That one football player that's dealing with the
Ruggs that killed the person in Vegas?
Oh no, the Aaron, right? The guy who's anti-vaccine.
No, the guy who got
Oh.
into the car accident.
Rugs from the Raiders.
Yeah, how is that going?
I'm honestly not sure.
Oh,
I thought
you
were talking
unaware?
about somebody else.
It was like a drunk driving kind of situation.
And that's so
allegedly.
scary.
It is scary, but he seemed really remorseful, and it just seems like a lot of people are like angry at it.
I think that's the thing though. People like to punish people. I'm the type of person like you can
From
be
what
a-
I read, he tried to help the person that
that's
was
nice.
in the other
He
accident.
should be punished because he was driving 100-something miles an hour
yeah,
in a residential area
yeah,
with his wife in the car
okay,
and crashed and killed another person. That other person didn't have a chance to say,
yeah,
hey, don't speed towards me.
yeah.
They just had to
How much
drive.
time do you think he should get though?
The person was on
Like, is it
fire.
like? Do you think it should be
Yes,
like?
burnt to death.
She burned to death in the car. She couldn't
Oh
get
wow.
From now on.
Yeah, he should get from now until he don't breathe no more. And that was a bad choice, bad decision.
But like, is that
And
his
this is
first
Caesar
crime?
that said it because the microphone picked it up. I saw it.
Yeah, so Caesar's
Now
here.
that was
He's
a bad
talking.
decision.
Was that his first crime, or was it like a repeat?
It should be his last.
Yeah,
Because that right there, only because you can't give that girl her life back.
yeah,
You can't give her mom. You can't pay him back. You can't go write a letter.
yeah.
That little girl.
He hates my letter
that
idea.
Young lady burnt up on fire
Yeah.
because
And that's-
you wanted to show off to your wife.
And I mean, like, you've already married
Well, I feel
her.
like we
There's
don't.
no
I feel like
point
we
in
don't know what was
pressing her.
going on in the car.
Well, I think that's terrible.
No matter what was
It's
going on,
it's a
that
horrible
was good
situation to
on
be
that.
on.
Yeah, there's no way to, I don't know. There's no good that can come in that. But on this very depressing note, oh, we have a question. Yay! What's up?
Legendary Donna Hall.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think that along with compassion, people need to experience consequences so maybe they will learn?
No, completely. We're not saying that. Hey, you do this. You
Sounds like she used to whoop her children.
did you whoop your children, ma'am? Write that in the text. We won't get into that here. Yeah, no, completely. There should be consequences, and we're not saying there shouldn't be consequences, but we should.
No one's saying no one should go
Yeah,
scot free.
but you have to look at like the root of the crime.
And I feel like you have to really think about what actually helps or what just
Yeah.
causes more damage.
She actually replied, she
Oh.
wrote, yes, I did.
We haven't heard
Me
the.
too.
She will.
She replied to the whooping part.
Oh, okay, okay.
What did she say?
Yes, I did.
She said yes. Oh, she did give a whooping.
Yeah.
The inside scoop here, folks. Y'all heard it here first. Donna Hall has whooped her kids. Share this to everybody you know. Yeah, no, definitely. We're not saying there
Right,
shouldn't be
yeah.
consequences, but they should be fair, right? Somebody robs somebody, you're not gonna give them, 92 years, because that's not fair. That's like someone's actual life. I think what the judges do, they can kind of like, I think they like joke and laugh to themselves. Like, forget this guy. He's never gonna, I'm gonna give him 400 years just for the LOLs. Like, I don't know. There's just no humanity in that, I think.
Maybe we need some type of reform with the judges. I feel like I've been throwing a lot of dirt towards the judges lately, talking about replacing them with teachers. I really feel like it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know if it's still a thing, but like, are judges really like, they're just judges till they die?
I think those
Like,
are the
they don't-
Supreme Court
Ones till
judges.
they die are the highest court.
The Supreme
I
Court
don't
judges.
like that. I don't like that.
No, yeah.
56, 89-year-old is
Yeah.
in charge of that. I feel like they should retire.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's America, folks. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, I've been Chelsea, and this has been Olivia. No relation. Please tune back in to us.
Week's guest is who?
Next week, we have Deanne from Locked In. We're really
I'm
excited about
excited.
having a guest. I love guys.
It's gonna be less lonely. I'm gonna enjoy the company. Not that you're not a delight.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm looking to hang out with other people as we sit here. So we're really excited. Thank you for watching. Bye. Just smile and wave, boys.